So, how do we lie to ourselves? How do people lie to themselves? I became fascinated with the idea of self-deception really in graduate school when I started seeing clients. And I started to notice that my patients would say things to me that they really believed were true. But as I was listening to them, objectively seemed false, or at least partly false. And so the more I started paying attention to the language that my clients were using and students that I worked with, and then myself, my friends, my family, the more I started to notice self-deception everywhere, that people would say things that really weren't objectively true, but they were living their lives as if they were true. So here are some examples. I have a research expertise in eating disorders and body image. And one of the things that my clients would often say to me with regard to their eating were things like this. I'll either eat one cookie or I'll eat an entire box. And I'll do that because if I eat one cookie, my diet is ruined. It's not the 25 cookies that I'm about to eat that are going to ruin my diet. No, it was the first cookie that did it, because as soon as I have one, the day is gone. It's over. With regard to stress, research suggests that Americans and actually the global community is particularly stressed right now. All of us feel stressed sometimes. And when people come into our office and they're really struggling, it's very likely that they're stressed. And they may say things like this: I feel overwhelmed. I feel burdened. I feel exhausted. And so I have no control over my life. I have no say in this process. There are so many stressful things in the world out there that I don't have any way to feel better, which clearly isn't true, because there are lots of things that we can do to help ourselves manage stress. Around heartache, research suggests that most of us are going to go through a really bad breakup at some point in our lives. And if you're working with clients who struggle going through a divorce, going through a relationship issues, you may hear them say things like this: my ex doesn't love me. They broke up with me. We're getting divorced. They don't want me anymore. And so I'll be single forever. No one's ever going to want me. I'll never feel this way again. I can't possibly move on from this relationship. It's ruined me forever. Around familial and cultural norms. So there are myriad examples that I could use here, but one that's near and dear to my heart that many of my clients will say is a version of this. My mom was an alcoholic, so my drinking is my mom's fault. Oh, wouldn't it be so wonderful if we really could blame someone else for our own behavior? This doesn't mean that having an alcoholic parent doesn't dramatically affect your learning and dramatically affect what you think is normal and how you manage your own behavior. However, we are always responsible for our choices as adults. And so anytime you hear language in clients that blame someone else for their choices, red flag up that it's somewhat deceptive. One of the most prevalent cultural messages that I see in mainstream US culture is reflected in this cartoon. I just know if I could only lose a few pounds, everything in my life would fall into place. If I just got that promotion at work, if I just earned an extra $10,000, if I just blank, fill in the blank, then I would feel better. Then my life would be perfect. Then it would be enough. Highly deceptive. There's always going to be one more thing. And I also want to highlight that in mental health practice among us, including me, we can actually lie to ourselves also, right? Because we're human. We're not immune to self-deception. And some of the things that I hear, particularly in people that I supervise or in trainees, but also in my colleagues and in myself when I'm feeling more insecure or unsure of myself, are things like this. I made a mistake. I had a client who came in and I didn't handle it very well, so I'm a bad therapist. We can label ourselves as if one mistake means you're a total failure or you're incompetent in some way. Things like this. I'm fully aware of my issues. I know what baggage I'm bringing into this world as a human being. And so I know that my issues don't affect me at work. They don't enter into the therapy room when I'm the therapist. Also, highly questionable. Or something more positive. My colleagues are all better than me. They seem like they have it all together. They show up to work on time. They look professional. They look put together. Their clients always get better. They never struggle, which I can guarantee you is not true. But sometimes we look around, even at other professionals, and think they have it all together. They don't struggle. And the reason that I bring up some of these examples for us is because I really want to normalize this for you, for me, that all of us struggle with self-deception, and it can even come into the therapy room for us as mental health professionals. And it's important that we keep that in mind because, of course, we bear extra responsibility for our own authenticity and for our own mental health status because we have so much power in our role as mental health professionals. And so no matter what we study, no matter what we're doing, whether it's in a research context or a therapeutic context or a supervision context, it's really important to remember that we also need to look at our own self-deceptive ways because we can unintentionally hurt others in the process if we don't. So I want to just pause for a moment here and invite you to just internally note if any of these examples resonate with you. Do you hear these kinds of comments in your clients? Are there things that you notice that your clients do or that you do at work that you think, oh gosh, I get that. I've been there. I do that. I hear people say things like that. And just note it for yourself. Because having some tangible examples of self-deception in practice is really, really helpful when we think later on about crafting interventions for it.